Alright, so hey guys, I'm just going to jump right into image because I get a lot of image just like everybody else. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Um, First off, I got Beauty, written by Jeremy Hahn, um, who is normally an artist. I don't know that he's written anything else. It's the first thing I've seen him write, but I really like his art, so I got this to support him writing, and I've really not been let down. Basic gist is that there's a sexually transmitted disease. It makes you beautiful. The only problem is that there's a side effect that you might just spontaneously combust on the subway or something. Um, but it's a really interesting concept. Really interested on where it's going, and yeah. Next up, I got Birthright. Um, Birthright's pretty good. Basically, it's about a kid that is out playing in the park one day, runs off into the woods, goes through a portal into a dimension that is like a fairy world, and the art and the coloring in this just are amazing. Bresnan and Lucas do a great job together on this. Josh Williamson's story, I kind of feel like it's been in a little bit of a lull the last couple of issues to me, but Josh Williamson's stories are that way sometimes to me that they kind of hit lulls, but then when they come out of them, they're so much stronger because of all the story that was developed in those issues. Next up, I got Black Magic, um, new Greg Rucka series. I don't know if because I read this right after I read Harrow County, which is one of my favorite books, whether or not that made me like this less. But it's hard for me to say. But I'm gonna pick up issue two, but at a $3.99 price tag. I don't know whether or not I'm gonna be able to continue to read this. Um, because there are so many image books that are really good. It's like Birthright is a $2.99 book, and so I will continue to read it. Even if it goes 4 or 5 issues that aren't that great, I'll continue to read it. Um, Next up, I got Empty Zone. This is written, drawn, and everything by Jason Scott Alexander. Um, Luis NCT actually does the coloring on this. But the art and everything in this book is just absolutely amazing. And yeah, um, basically it's about a group of like special forces type people that are all genetically modified. But the government is concerned that, or actually the corporation they work for is concerned that they're going to get out of control, so they decide they're going to kill them off during a mission. But our main character in this book escapes, and so now they are trying to track her down. Unfortunately for them, she is a badass and is giving them a lot more trouble than it's actually worth to them. And yeah, that has been a really, really good book. It's on issue 5, so the trade on that should be coming out in the next couple of months. Just really good book. Next up, I got The Goddamned. Um, New Jason Aaron series. I thought that the art on this book was pretty good. I thought that the story was pretty good. Basically, it's like a Cain walking the earth type story. But I just really, really didn't enjoy it that much. Not enough that I'm going to continue to read it. But I'm not the biggest Jason Aaron fan in the world. You know, if you like Jason Aaron, then I'm sure that that book would be great for you, but it's just not really for me. Next up, I got another Greg Rucka title, Lazarus. I love Lazarus so much. I love Michael Lark's art in this book, and yeah, it is just a top-notch storyline. Basically, it's the top 0.01% of the wealth in the world is divided up basically between these like 7 families, and they all control territory. Basically, they each have a continent. They all have specialties that they do, genetic engineering or medicine or different things. Each one of them has, well, they don't all have, but most of them have a Lazarus, which is like their super soldier general person, and So the majority of this story follows the Carlisle family, and forever. Uh, and it has just really, really been an enjoyable series. This is issue 20. Yeah, and I don't see myself quitting that anytime soon. Next up, I got Low, Rick Remender. I tend to have a problem a lot of times with Rick Remender. It seems like that I start stories of his, and then once I get about 8 or 9, 10 issues in, I kind of either get confused, lose interest. Maybe I don't know, I'm too stupid to keep up with his story. I'm not really sure what it is, but especially with the way that Image does breaks, it's hard for me at some points to really keep up with what's going on in the story. It's kind of what's happened with me with Low, but I am enjoying Low in the long run better than I have Black Science, I guess. Next, I've been reading the new Luther Shroud series. This right here is a trade on Luther Shroud. The series that's going on right now is the last in the trilogy of Luther Shroud stories, and has been super enjoyable to me. And really happy that I was able to get a good deal on these trades. So I was able to go back and read the entire story before I started reading the new series. So yeah. Next up, I was crazy behind on Manifest Destiny, and once I got caught up, what I realized was that I'm about to go to trade on Manifest Destiny. It follows the Lewis and Clark expedition, but it's really, really supernaturally. They just keep running into different creatures that everything in the West apparently wants to kill you, and that was really, really cool and really holding my attention early on in the series, but as it's gone on, I find myself just having to dredge through that book every month, and I don't really like that. But, you know, it's one of those books, like I was saying before, it's a $2.99 book, so I've kind of stuck with it for that reason, but I believe now that it's at, like, issue 20, that I'm pretty well fixing to go to trade on it. Nailbiter, another Josh Williamson series. I've crazy enjoyed Nailbiter, about a town, Buckaroo, Oregon, which breeds serial killers. They've had like, 8, 9, 10 serial killers in this town. And yeah, it is just a really, really messed up story. A lot of stuff in it that I really like on this issue 16, that when you look at the front cover, it's him standing at the door. And when you flip it over, it's a back view, and he's got like a knife behind his back, and he's got like a candy bowl in front of him, giving the candy out to the kids. Really, really, really liking that series. About issue 10, I was worried about that series, but then once it got to issue 11, 12, 13, that series really picked up. Much like I was saying with Birthright, once he gets through that character development stage and just let the story goes forward, awesome freaking story. Outcast. Outcast has been really good. It's a real slow burn of a book, but if you stick with it, I believe it's well worth it. It's done by Kirkman, that does The Walking Dead. It's also been made into a new Cinemax series that's fixing to come out. Anybody that hasn't seen the trailer for Outcast should really go check out the trailer on Outcast, man. Looks spooky as everything. And from what I saw of it, if you read this comic, it looks just like the comic. I'm sure it won't be based on Walking Dead, but yeah. Azzaceta, that does the art on this, the art is amazing. The page layouts and everything on it, I love. Yeah. Basically, it's about like an exorcist. Demons that are trying to attack this guy and the people that are around him, and that hasn't totally been cleared up exactly why that's happening, but has been crazy enjoyable. Paper Girls, the new Brian K. Vaughan, Cliff Chiang series. Really, really like this. I'm not a huge fan of Saga, but I've really liked We Stand on Guard. I've really liked Paper Girls. It's a period piece set in the 80s, which is just right up my alley. I was about these girls' age at that time, so I really identify with a lot of it. And I just think it's really, really well done. And, Cliff Chang's art, you can't go wrong. Um, Roche Limit Clemency. This is the second series of these Roche Limits. The first series I really, really liked. This series hasn't been horrible. It's just different, but, enjoyable in its own way. The good thing about this is that if you read Clandestine, you don't have to have read the first Roche Limit to really understand what's going on here. It really doesn't matter. Starve, a apocalyptic type cooking show, and this is really, I think, fixing to get good because the rival that's been in the first 5 issues of this series is now fixing to actually get into the cooking competition. But basically, it's like an apocalyptic Anthony Bourdain, and yeah, really, really interesting to me. The Spread by Justin Jordan, been really, really good. About this post-apocalyptic thing that there is this spread thing that's like a monster that goes around and just eats everything and infects everything, kind of turns them into zombies. And it follows our main character, No, and his band of misfits as they go out and try to fight the spread and just basically stay alive to fight another day. But yeah, I've been really enjoying the spread. Continue to enjoy it. Justin Jordan's one of my favorite writers, so yeah. Another Rick Remender series, Tokyo Ghost. Love Sean Murphy's art, so I will stick with this. I stuck with The Wake back whenever it came out a couple of years ago, even though it wasn't particularly the best story, but I stuck with it. This is really interesting. The art in it is amazing. And, Remender can write a good sci-fi story, so, I'll see how that goes, see how long I can stick with it. Wayward, a kind of a super team, new gods versus old gods type of story, set in Japan, and it just really feels Japan to me. And of course, Tamra Bonham that does the coloring on this. One of my favorite colorists that's out there. Seems like she's doing everything now. I saw that she's doing that Devil Dinosaur book that came out this week. She's doing the coloring on that. So, that'd be awesome. And then last, I've got We Stand on Guard, another Brian Caveon series. Basically about a war between the United States and Canada over water in the future. And yeah, there's some pretty sweet stuff going on in this book. Really, really like the art and the coloring. Once again, by Phonographics. And I've never been a fan of Phonographics, but a couple of books that I've been reading lately, that and I believe Beauty, also done, have really enjoyed. Once again, a lot of books in that and from that publisher. Sorry it ran so long, but I'm gonna get off here and read some books.